Hi, I'm Shara Osgood. In this time of COVID and escalating world changes, I've been having a lot of conversations with people about marginalization, about appropriation, and about how there's subtleties in racism. And I was charged to write a poem, and I also am working on this painting in progress. I want to share that poem with you. It's called The Color of My Privilege. I grew up with the notion that I was a minority because I was Jewish, and we were outnumbered by the Christians and the Catholics and the Protestants, and they were white, like me. I grew up with the notion that I was disadvantaged because I was female in a world where men held all the power, and I became a pagan where goddesses were worshipped. I still felt like I was not pretty enough, and I couldn't get paid as much as men do for doing the same work. I thought that I understood what discrimination was. I grew up with the notion that all beings were created equal. Only some decided that they were more plus than others, somehow deigned that they were more deserving, and they were all white like me. I grew up sheltered from integration in a town that was white. There was only one black student in my high school, and he was from Nigeria. It wasn't until I was much older that I truly appreciated how privileged I was to get the excellent education that I got in a public school that was white, like me. Still, I believed that all people deserved an education and opportunities to make a good life for themselves. This was America, home of the free, land of the brave. But nothing is free. Even freedom isn't free. Everything comes at a price. The price of my freedom was ignorance. Ignorance only afforded to the entitled masses. I knew about Rosa Parks and Harriet Tubman. I'd learned about desegregation. I felt like I was sensitive to the plight of the black man in America. At age 27, I sat in a room watching a movie about Huey Newton and Bobby Seale and the Black Panther Party. That was no party. It was a mass of injustices that lit a fire under my ass because I was white and I had lived 27 years without really knowing what it was like for black people in America, even in 1992. When I talked to my father, all fired up about this time in recent history where the tide started to turn, my father said that the Black Panther Party was formed so that a bunch of black men could go rob banks. We agreed to disagree. I grew up feeling a pride in my Jewish heritage because we were survivors. We persevered over slavery. My people were crammed into boxcars and taken off to concentration camps. They were tattooed like chattel, tortured and starved, and piled into gas chambers, systematically killed, dumped in mass graves. No dignity, no humanity, and it was worse for those who survived. Still, I knew that that indomitable spirit was in my blood. At age 12, I read Roots by Alex Haley. It was by far the longest book that I had ever read. It was 800 pages, but it was even longer in its impact. For it was a story similar to the story of my people. It was a story of man's inhumanity to man and of the triumph of human will and determination and hope. I was proud of my black friends, Kunta Kinte and Chicken George. I still didn't comprehend the differences in our stories because those slave owners were white, like me. It has taken me 56 years and a worldwide pandemic to teach me that even though I share a story of oppression with people of color, even though I believe deep down to my core that Black lives matter, I've never been denied anything because of the color of my skin. I've never been afraid to walk down the street because of the color of my skin. I have never been profiled because of the color of my skin. I may be marginalized because I am a woman, but Jewish doesn't show up as I walk down the street. Pagan isn't branded on my face. I'm not afraid every day that my child may come home battered and bruised because he chose to walk down the street in his own hometown while being black. Or maybe he comes home in a pine box, strange fruit still hanging from the tree. I did not understand the full extent of my white privilege. I have many friends who happen to be black. I've never paid attention to the shades of pigment, except when I mix paint. But I did not understand the systemic problem or how I was complicit in subtle racism by my inaction. I can't possibly ever know what it is like to be a person of color because of the color of my skin. But I can change my filter and decolonize my mind because of the love in my heart.